1 hour to managing your money. How to get rich in any economy. Introduction. Why did I write this book? 2 reasons. Number 1, I used to be broke and now I'm not, and I want to pass this knowledge on to other people and to my family so that others can get out of their financial difficulties more quickly than I did, or avoid getting into financial difficulties in the first place. Number 2, schools don't teach you about money. So I want to arm people with enough information to make sensible decisions and to teach their kids the importance of using money correctly. When I say I was broke, I mean proper broke. I had a job and I had a flat that I rented, but because I didn't know anything about how to manage my money, I ended up in a situation one month where I got paid on the Wednesday, and by Saturday of the same week, 3 days later, I had £3 left in the bank. Not good. That £3 had to pay my food, my petrol, seeing my friends, getting to and from work, and anything else that required money. As you can probably imagine, that wasn't the best month I'd ever had. I had to go to the Citizens Advice Bureau, write to all my creditors, and beg them to stop the interest on my cards and loans. For about 6 months, I had to avoid solicitors' letters threatening to take me to court. I had to change my bank accounts so that nobody could just take money out of my bank, including the bank itself. And generally, I felt awful. My diet at the time consisted of gravy granules and stuffing mix in a cup with some boiling water and jam. This was my version of a slap-up roast dinner. I started looking in the free local newspapers that were handed out in the supermarket to see if there was any way I could work an evening job, start a part-time business, or make some extra cash. I came across a business opportunity and I signed up. I borrowed £75 from my dad as he just sold his house, and I got started. I was basically selling healthy, natural weight loss products, and the girls at the office were buying them from me, which allowed me to buy some food and eat. I was very dedicated and would go out every night at midnight putting advertising posters on lampposts. I had to borrow 80p just to buy string to tie them up with, and I'd put flyers through people's letterboxes and on their car windscreen wipers, trying to make sales to make money. I was desperate, and I would have done anything that was legal to make ends meet. In this business, I met some very interesting and some very successful people that kept recommending books for me to read. So I read every book that was recommended to me about being successful, making money, getting rich, having a positive attitude, and eventually I managed to get myself out of the hole that I had dug. And yes, I had dug that hole myself. Nobody else had helped me to dig it. After several years of hard work and self-discipline, I changed my life and became fairly successful, and now want to pass on the things that I picked up along the way to others to help them along as well. I'm going to start the book by telling you what money is, then what money isn't, and then a few other things that don't really fall into either of these 2 categories. I'm then going to give you some actions to help get you out of your hole and move you forward to a life of more freedom, more security, and less worry. To me in a simple way. So I'm going to keep them simple when I'm telling them as well. At the end of each chapter, I'll ask a series of questions. These will help you to get the most out of this audio. I urge you to get a piece of paper, or better still, a bound notebook, and write down your answers to every question. It will be enlightening. So if you've been digging a hole, put down the shovel, put your feet up, get yourself a nice cuppa, and read on. Chapter 1. Money is neutral. Money doesn't care about you. In fact, money has no feelings whatsoever. If you're an honest, hard-working person, or a crook, money will still come to you. If you're trustworthy or a liar, you can still have money, though if you're trustworthy, you'll keep it for longer and you'll enjoy it more as well. Money isn't something that is reserved for certain types of people. There are rich fat people, there are rich thin people, there are rich builders, there are rich gold dealers, there are rich scrap metal merchants, there are rich porn stars, there are rich preachers, there are rich dentists, there are rich software designers, there are rich women, there are rich men, there are rich kids, there are rich northerners, there are rich southerners. In fact, in every type of business, trade, skill, industry, or geographical area, someone is making money. the same applies to poor/broke people, as every business, trade or skill and industry has plenty of these as well. This means that no matter what you do, where you're starting from or what your background is, you can still get rich, make more money and become prosperous. You can also go backwards, get more into debt, lose more money or mess things up for yourself financially on an even bigger scale. Money doesn't care either way. It will still flow to the people that know how to get it. Let's make sure you become one of them. Question: who do you know that is wealthy? Think of 5 people. What do they do? How do they make their money? Are all of these people different? Can you see that money is neutral and that it really doesn't care who you are or what you do? Chapter 2. Money is worthless in itself. How can I say such a blasphemous thing? Okay, maybe not money, but currency is certainly worthless in itself. What's the difference? Money used to be silver and gold. Then, money was worth what the actual value of the silver and gold was. Nowadays, there is no silver or gold in our money, and we use currency: pounds, dollars, euros, yen, etc. How much is the paper that a £5 note or $5 bill is printed on worth? Pretty much nothing. On British notes, there is written, "I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of..." So if the banks are promising to pay the bearer of the note £5, what is the £5 they're going to pay you? In the good old days, you would have received £5 worth of silver or gold. Money was real when this concept was created. Here's what would have happened when money and banks were first around. You would have put real money in the bank, and the bank would give you a note, so that when you went back to the bank, they would give you back your real £5 worth of money. This doesn't happen anymore. If you went into your bank and gave them a £5 note and asked for £5 worth of real money, they would think you were a bit weird. Inflation. Every time the government puts more money into the economy, your money is worth less. Let's say we had 5 million things to buy in your country, and there were 5 million pounds, dollars, yen, etc. in the economy. It would cost you, on average, £1 for a thing. If, however, due to a credit crisis, the Federal Reserve Bank or the Bank of England pumped another £1 million into the economy, you would still only have 5 million things, but you would need £6 million or $6 million to buy them. This is inflation, and this is why your money today isn't worth what it was just a few years ago. It's also why things get more expensive. £6 million or dollars divided by 5 million things makes everything now cost an average of £1.20 or $1.2. That's a 20% price increase. Ouch. This is why money is worthless in itself, unless you have real money, gold and silver, as this will generally increase in value over time. Questions. Can you see how this works? Can you see that today's money is not actually worth anything? Can you see how things are going up in price and why? Can you see how inflation works? Can you see this changing anytime soon? Chapter 3. Money is just a game. Again, let's look at the former days of real money. If you wanted to buy something, you would take real money and exchange it for a real product in a real shop. Nowadays, I could easily live with no real money and no hard paper or coins. I could live with my credit or debit card and online and never need or use actual money. Let's say you have a job at an insurance company. Customers pay the insurance company. They pay over the phone or online by direct debit or by credit card. Nobody has actually given the insurance company any actual money. No gold, no silver, no notes and no coins. All they have received is electronic numbers on a lot of computer screens. Now let's say every month you get paid directly into your bank account, £2,000, $2,000 or whatever. You do your shopping online, you pay for your rent, mortgage, gas, electric, mobile phone, broadband connection, all on direct debit, and buy a few treats on Amazon and eBay. Where is the actual money here? All it is numbers on screens, and people are transferring numbers either into your account or out of your account. You just have to decide which way you want the flow of numbers to go, in or out. Questions. Can you see how this works? Can you see that money is just a game or an idea? Can you see that it's not real? Can you think of any other scenarios that play this out? Chapter 4. Money is honest. What does that mean? I mean this. You cannot be fooled by money, and you cannot fool money. People can fool you, and you can fool people, and you can even fool yourself, but you cannot fool money. Want to know the truth about your financial situation? Do this exercise. Number 1. Count all of your debts. A debt is something that you can pay off. A mortgage, a store card, a loan, a car loan, a bank loan, a credit card, these are all debts. Rent, insurances and utilities are not debts because you can't pay them off. Number 2. Count all of your assets. An asset is something that you have that is tangible and can be used to buy things. Savings, bonds, shares, rental property, precious metals. Don't include any equity in your main home of residence because you will need to sell your home in order to get the money, or you'll need to borrow it back off the mortgage, which would then increase your debts. Step 3. Look at the balance. If your debts are higher than your assets, then you are worth negative money. Only from an economic point of view, I'm sure you're a lovely person. This is what I mean when I say that money is honest. It's just numbers. They are either one way or the other. You can't fool it. You can't make up assets you don't actually have, and you can't make debts disappear unless you pay them off. This is real. You can ignore the situation though, but I wouldn't recommend it as a long-term strategy. If you're spending more money than you make, no matter how much you make, even if it's 10 million a year, you are digging a hole, a money hole, and they can get deep and they can be tough to get out of. Be honest with yourself and do this exercise now to see where you are and how deep you are. You may be up to your neck. Questions. Can you see how money tells it like it is? Can you see how you cannot lie or fool money? Can you see that you need to know exactly where you are in order to know what to do next? Now, can you see if you're digging a hole or climbing out of it? Chapter 5. Money is a choice giver. Money lets you decide what to do, where to go, what to buy, what to eat, what to wear. If you watch most people shop, you will notice them looking at the prices of things before deciding whether to buy it or not. Rather than buy what they want, they buy what money lets them buy, unless they're flashing the plastic. If you don't have much money, you don't have much choice. If you have lots of money, you have lots of choice. Simple. Remember earlier in my introduction, I mentioned that I was eating stuffing mix and gravy granules in a cup with boiling water on it. I'd mix it up so it was a nice mushy paste. Not good. I wouldn't have been eating like that if I had a choice, but as I had no money, I had no choice. It was embarrassing, it was humiliating, but it also taught me a valuable lesson. Get out of this mess now, Simon, you idiot. If you want more choices in your life, you'll need more money. More on that later. If you don't want more choices, then you won't need any more money, and you can give this book to a friend. Questions. Can you see the choices money gives you? Can you see how money could buy your kids a better education? Can you see how money gives you an option of where to live? What choices would you make differently if you had unlimited wealth? What choices will you make differently today? Chapter 6. Money is nicer to have than not to have. This one is pretty obvious. If you're listening to this, then it probably stands to reason that you want more money. One thing I will point out though is that the chapter of this title is Money is nicer to have than not to have, and it's not. Money is nicer to spend than not to spend. What I mean by this is that you want to get yourself into a position where you have money. Money in savings, money in investments, money in your wallet or purse. In order to have that, you need to not spend it all. If you spend all your money, you will not have any left. Pretty obvious, I know. But most people do actually overlook or forget this very important point. There is something I absolutely love about spending money, but it would be foolish to spend it all, or the next time you get an unexpected bill, or your car breaks down, or your boiler breaks down, or you get a sick dog, you'll need to dig out the old credit card. Then your debt hole becomes a little bit deeper again, and you've got to climb that little bit more to get out again. Questions. Why do you want more money? How would you feel if you had £50,000 or $50,000 in the bank? How would you feel if you had no debts? How would you feel that if you lost your job, you had 2 years' worth of expenses in the bank to tide you over? How do you feel at the moment with your financial situation? How many months could you live for now if you lost your income? How many months' expenses would you need in the bank to feel comfortable? Chapter 7. Money is important. Okay, so we've ascertained the following so far. Money is neutral. Money is worthless. Money is just a game. Money is honest. Money is a choice giver. And money is nicer to have than not to have. If money is neutral, money is worthless, and money is just a game, why is it nicer to have, and why is it important? Because we live in a society where money is the means of exchange, the only alternatives are bartering, begging, or taking things by force, none of which seem like a preferable alternative to me. It would be nice if one day we found an alternative so that there was less inequality in the world, but until that time, we do need money. Everything you want, other than love, costs money, so until something drastic changes, you're going to need some of this imaginary, neutral, worthless game stuff. That means you're going to have to do one or several of the following. You're going to have to work for it, win it, create an investment portfolio where it gives you an income, invent something that will pay you royalties, write a song or book that pays you royalties, start or grow a business, sell some of your stuff, create an online blog and put ads on it that will pay you, create a product to sell, come up with a great idea and sell it to another business, become so skilled in something that people will pay you to teach it to them, etc. All of these things are possible. They are also possible for you. What do you enjoy that could make you more money? If you want money but don't like your job, can you move companies, move industries, move towns, move countries? There's always something you can do to make more money. Questions. Why is money important to you? Do you want to buy a bigger house? Do you want to get out of debt? Do you want a new car? Do you want to get your mum or dad into a good care home? Do you want to travel? Do you want to put your kids through private education? Do you just want the time freedom to be able to spend your days doing exactly what you want without a boss telling you what time to start and finish work? Chapter 8. Money is easily lost. You have to protect your money. You have to protect it from other people, your own stupidity, companies and advertisers that want to take it away from you, and banks, building societies, and credit card companies. How do we lose our money? We spend it, we gamble it, we give it away, we are robbed. We are conned out of it, we sign agreements we don't understand that take it away, we pay interest on loans, credit cards and mortgages, we pay bank charges, overdraft fees, and late payment charges for going overdrawn, we get caught by speed cameras or get wheel clamped and have to pay. As you can see, there are just as many ways of losing your money as there are to make it. These are some of the less obvious, but probably have the biggest impact. Number 1. Spending it all and gambling. If you spend all you make, even if you think it is on justified reasons, you have literally given all of your money away. Someone else now has it, and you have some stuff that soon loses its shiny, interesting appeal. If you spend money on credit to get it, that's even worse because you're going into debt. Number 2. Interest on loans, credit cards and mortgages. If you buy a house for $250,000 and pay a deposit of $25,000 and borrow the remaining $225,000 at an interest rate of 5.5%, how much do you think that house will actually cost you? If you take a mortgage out over a 30-year period and your payments are $1,200 per month, you simply multiply 1,200 by 12. That's how many months there are in a year. Multiply that number by 30, the number of years the mortgage is over. This is a sum of over 400,000, but you only borrowed 225,000. This is what compound interest working against you does. It takes away your money without you even realising it. The same thing applies to loans, credit cards, payday loans, store cards, etc. Number 3, bank charges. If you go overdrawn on your bank account, you may pay up to $30 or £30 per time. Some banks charge you for every day you are overdrawn. What does your bank charge? If you don't know, I strongly suggest you go and find out today. Call them, ask them, and then pay your overdraft off as quickly as you can, or change banks. There is nothing illegal with changing banks if you're not happy with them. Questions. In what ways are you losing your money? Do you spend it all? Are you paying interest on loans, cards, mortgages? Do you have an overdraft that charges you a fortune for using it? Do you have an eBay addiction? Can you contact your bank or card provider and get them to reduce or stop your interest for a period of time? Can you change banks? Chapter 9. Money is infinite. There is enough money in the world for everyone to be wealthy. There is enough money in the world for everyone to have what he or she needs in terms of food, shelter, clothing, and amenities. So why is there such a vast distribution of wealth? Well, having observed the world, it seems to me that the following is true. There are people that were born into money. There are people that were born with nothing, yet went ahead and made a fortune anyway. There are places in the world where it is easy to make or earn money. The UK, the USA, for example. There are places in the world where it is very difficult to make or earn money. Some parts of Africa, Eastern Europe, etc. There are corrupt governments. There are benign organisations that want to help and want to give. There are poor parts of the UK and the US, and there are affluent parts of the UK and the US. There is a vast difference in people's financial education. There is a vast difference in people's motivation to become wealthy. And there is a vast difference in people's self-belief about what is possible for them. Let's have a look at some of these. There are people that were born to money. This is old money. Families where wealth has been passed down through the generations, or they inherit their parents' wealth, property, business, etc. The aristocracy would fall into this category, as well as individuals like Paris Hilton. This only accounts for approximately 20% of millionaires. There are people that were born with nothing, yet went ahead and made a fortune anyway. These people account for approximately 80% of the millionaires. People that went out and built a business or invented something or worked hard and invested their money. Ordinary people like you and me. They weren't special and they didn't have any extra intelligence that you or I don't have. They just did two things. One, decided to make money, and two, took action and figured out a way to do it. There is a vast difference in people's financial education. Imagine two kids. They're both aged 10 and they both go to the same school in the same town. One of the kids learns from his parents how to budget for a household, how to avoid credit, how to make money online, how to buy a property and rent it out, how to save 10% of his money and put it into savings or investments, and how to read books that teach financial literacy. The other kid learns from his parents how to spend more money than you make, how to buy the latest 52-inch 3D HD TV, how to go on holiday 3 times a year, how to buy a new car that they didn't really need just to upgrade on finance, how to go to the pub after work every night, how to get a new 3-piece suite on a buy now, pay later scheme. Which of these kids do you think has a better overall chance of making his finances work for him in the future? There is a vast difference in people's motivation to become wealthy. Some people just aren't interested in making an improvement in their financial situation. If you give two people the same information and the same advice, one will act on it and the other won't. I know this from personal experience. There is no reason for this other than the fact that all people are different and all have different desires, needs, hopes and values. However, everyone says they would like to be rich or have more money, so it always amazes me when their actions lead them to disaster. I have seen so many people spend £300 a month on going out and getting drunk, yet when you suggest that they start to save 10% of their wages, they tell you they can't afford it. There is a vast difference in people's self-belief about what is possible for them. Some people don't take any action because they don't believe what you say, or they don't believe they can really change their situation. Unfortunately, I know a lot of these people. You explain it to them in layman's terms, that they understand, but they always have a but. They simply have never been in a good position financially, and they don't believe it can be changed, even if you show them the basic maths behind the theory. They know they should change, they agree with you, but they still don't do it, because they've been brought up with a mentality that prosperity isn't for them. Questions. What lessons did you learn about money as a kid? What are your beliefs about money? Where did you learn those beliefs? What did you believe before you believed that? If you could believe something else, what belief would you choose? Do you believe there is enough money to go around and enough for you to become wealthy? What do you need to learn about money that you don't know or that you would have liked to have learned earlier? Do you believe that you can change your financial future in the country you now live? Are you motivated to change or improve your situation? If so, why? Chapter 10. Money is time. We've all heard the phrase, time is money, but what does that actually mean? Most people trade their time for money. You go to work and you give the company time, and in exchange, they give you money. How much money they give you depends on how much value they place on your time. For example, a worker in a company may be paid $15,000 per year for their time. This means that they have swapped a year of their life for $15,000 before tax. The managing director or CEO of the same company may be paid $250,000 per year for their time. Why is this? Well, it's quite simple. The company or marketplace feels that the MD or CEO adds more value to the company, so is happy to reimburse her at a much higher level. Let's say the worker on $15,000 completes basic admin tasks, sends out letters, inputs data into the company's computer system. Important work, and the company needs you in order for this work to be completed. However, they could easily train another person to do this work for the same money, so you don't get paid very much. The CEO, on the other hand, may have to motivate a business of 1,000 people, may need to negotiate multi-million-pound deals. They may need to be on top of the marketing team, the product development team, the sales operation, the customer service team, run multiple brands within the same company, and bring in a profit to the shareholders. This takes education, experience, and an understanding of the industry, an understanding of the company's policies, procedures, and working practices, as well as good people management skills. Basically, they are more valuable to the company and more difficult to replace. Can you make more money in the same time? Yes, you simply become more valuable to the company or the marketplace. Work on your skills, your understanding, your knowledge, and your ability. This will allow you to make more money in the same time. Money is also time in a different way. Let's say you need $1,000 or pounds per month in order to pay all your bills, your rent, your taxes, your utilities, etc. If you have £1,000 or dollars in the bank, you could live for 1 month if you lost your job, without having to borrow, beg or steal. If you have 24,000 in the bank, you could survive for 2 years without having to panic. Money can buy you time. If you hated your boss but only had 1,000 in the bank, you would need to find another job before you quit. This can make you very unhappy. If you had 2 years worth of money in the bank, you could leave, relaxed, and find something else in your own time without having to panic, and without having to take any old job just to make ends meet. Questions. What can you do to get paid more for your time in your current role? What can you do in your current company, industry, to get paid more for your time? What can you do today that will still be making you money in the future? What can you create that would be useful to others that they would pay you for? How many months' money do you have in your bank? So now that you know what money is, let's look at what money isn't. Chapter 11. Money isn't evil. Ever heard the saying that money is the root of all evil? Well, I don't actually think it is. I think that poverty is the root of all evil. If you were wealthy, would you commit burglary? What about mug an old granny? I hope you wouldn't do any of these anyway, even if you were poor. But I believe that most crime is committed by people that have a poor education, a poor financial education, and an empty bank account. I think the actual saying is, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Money is like sex. If you have it, you don't think about it too much. But if you don't have any, you think about it all the time. So does money make people evil? I don't think so. If you watch films like Harry Potter, Spider-Man and the Titanic, the rich people are portrayed as evil, immoral and boring, while the poor people are portrayed as kind, friendly and fun. This isn't actually true in real life. This is just negative programming. In real life, there are nasty people that are rich and kind people that are rich. There are nasty people that are poor, and there are kind people that are poor. Money itself certainly isn't evil. How can it be? Money is either an inanimate object, coins and notes, or it is numbers on a computer screen. Remember, money is neutral. How do you build a hospital? With money. How do you pay for a shelter for a homeless person? With money. How do you cure a disease? By paying scientists and doctors money to figure out the cure. You can also buy guns with money and drugs with money. Remember, money is neutral. It certainly isn't evil. Questions. What did you hear about money when you were a kid that could have given you negative programming? Poor as a church mouse? We may be poor, but at least we're honest. Who do you know that's wealthy? Are they evil? Who do you know that's poor? Are they holy? Who do you think causes more evil in the world? Poverty or wealth? What belief would you need to have about money to make you think it is something you deserve and should have. Chapter 12. Money isn't dirty. Filthy lucre, dirty money, stinking rich, filthy rich, rolling in it. Ever heard these? What do you think about these statements as you say them to yourself? Have you ever said these to yourself or someone else? This could be more negative programmed from your childhood. Who do you think originated these sayings? Do you think it was a wealthy individual or somebody who was poor? Do you want to be dirty or filthy? Get your mind out of the gutter. I'm talking about money still here. If not, this is maybe another barrier in your subconscious to keep wealth away from you. The only time money is dirty is when it is received as the ill-gotten means of crime or exploitation. And once again, most crime isn't committed by wealthy people. If this is the case, the money isn't the problem, it's the criminals. If they were exchanging ironing boards instead of money, would we call them dirty ironing boards? Money just seems to affect people in funny ways that make them attach all kinds of odd beliefs and thoughts around it. If you catch yourself saying these kinds of things, you need to check yourself and counter that negative belief. Give yourself a positive alternative that you can use to create a positive belief about money. Questions. Do you think money is dirty? What about filthy? When you stop and examine these sayings, do you realise how ridiculous they actually are? What positive statements do you think you could replace them with? Where did you learn these ways of looking at money? Who did you learn them from? Were they a good financial role model? If not, do you think you could find a better one? Chapter 13. Money isn't something that only other people can have. Have you ever had money? I don't mean tens of thousands of pounds or dollars, just a £5 note or a $5 bill. If you have, then this means that money and you are able to get along just fine. All you have to do now is two things. Number one, learn how to keep some of it. Number two, increase the quantities. Once you can do these two things, you can become wealthy. Later on, I will share with you a very simple method for accumulating more money in your life. But the first thing you have to understand is that you are no different to anybody else. You deserve more wealth, you can have more wealth, and you can keep more wealth for yourself and your family. Once you realise this and truly believe it, you can start to immediately see results, and I mean from your very next pay packet. If you are in a job or a business where you regularly receive an income, then you are just as capable as anyone else of becoming wealthy. You cannot only have money, you can have more of it than you've ever had before. Once you get a real feeling for how simple it is to make and keep, then you'll become more motivated to move ahead and increase what you have. This will in turn create even more motivation and you will find yourself in a positive circle. Questions. What's the most amount of money you've ever had? What did you do with it? Looking back, could there have been another way of using this money that could still be benefiting you today? Would you still do the same thing with it today? If not, why not? If yes, then why? Chapter 14. Money isn't hard to understand. People often don't take the actions they should with their finances because they feel as though money is complicated. It isn't. One of the first things I recommend to people when I'm coaching them on improving their finances is to keep a strict account of where they are spending their money and what they're spending it on. Here is a great quote, and unfortunately I can't remember where I heard it because I'd like to give them credit. Don't tell me what's important to you. Show me where you spend your time and show me where you spend your money, and I will tell you what's important to you. To find out exactly where you are with your money, create a simple spreadsheet. Column A will list all of your income, job, part-time business, eBay money, rental income from property. Column B lists all of your monthly expenses. This should include your rent, mortgage, gas and electric, landline, broadband, mobile or cell phone, insurances, loan and credit card payments, etc. Column C, a list of all your tangible assets. So this will include savings, bonds, precious metals, shares, property. And column D, a list of all your debts. So this should include mortgages, credit cards, loans, overdrafts, payday loans, store cards, etc. Now take the total in column A, this will give you your monthly income, and take the total of column B, this will give you your monthly expenses. Minus your expenses from your income, and this will give you the figure for your living expenses and also for saving and investing. Now do the same and total up columns C and D. Take D away from C and this will give you your net worth. This is basically your financial situation at the moment. The game now begins. Your aim, just like in Monopoly, is to increase columns A and C and decrease columns B and D. Now, once you've done this, you may be looking at it and thinking this is pretty healthy, or you may be looking at it and thinking it's a lot worse than you thought it was going to be. So the most important thing is to accept where you are and make a plan. Questions. Have you actually done this exercise? If not, do it now. Now you've done it, are you surprised at your situation? Did you think you were better off or worse off? Do you have an alternative system that you've been using? Is it working for you? If you're finding it difficult, who do you know that can help you to figure this out? Chapter 15. Money isn't into excuses. No matter what you say to money, it doesn't care. When I normally sit down with people and to do the above exercise, people come up with all sorts of excuses as to why they're broke, but it's normally because they've spent all their money, or they don't know what they're spending it on and they don't save anything. I would sit them down with their bank statement and go through 2 months of spending with them and then show them where they're leaking money. Here are a few examples of what I've seen. All of these people said to me they didn't have enough money coming in to save any, but this is what I saw on their bank statements. 12 trips to KFC in 1 month alone. 2 of these were in one day. £100 on Sky Television. Strip clubs. Several cash withdrawals over the course of a weekend. This included cashback in a bar. £140 in bank overdraft charges and bounced direct debit charges. Pizza. And when quizzed, this was at 2 a.m. on the way home from town. £140 on a fashionable belt. £90 on a purse. £750 taken out in the casino on payday. As you can tell, none of these are what I'd call life's necessities. When you show people what they're actually doing with their money, they're quite often shocked. Please do this exercise and take a real look at what you're spending your money on. Here are the necessities, in my opinion. Obviously, you don't have to agree with it. So, paying yourself. Shelter, so rent or mortgage. Taxes, heating and electricity, food, transport, clothing, and I don't mean a £200 or $200 pair of jeans. Mobile phone or cell phone. Insurance to protect your belongings, and paying off a portion of your debt. Notice that on here I didn't include satellite TV, gym memberships, broadband, nights out, eating out, takeaways, the pub, the off licence and the cinema. Questions. What excuses have you got for your financial situation? Have you been lying to yourself as well as your family, friends and bank manager? Have you actually done this exercise? If not, why not? Chapter 16. Money gives you peace of mind. Have you ever had a sleepless night because of money? I have, and I can tell you it's not very nice. My family were always broke when I was growing up. I don't mean poor, as we always had food to eat and squash to drink and somewhere to live, but we were broke. We were the type of family that had an electric meter and sometimes had to wait a day or so to get the money to put on the meter key. I remember one time I went to get my bike out of the shed only to find out that it had been sold. Living like this isn't fun. It's also bad for your health. Any adult that hasn't got 3 to 6 months worth of expenses saved, in my opinion, is not giving themselves the freedom from stress that they deserve. I know this can seem like a tall order, but it can be accomplished if you make a decision to do it and really strive to get it done. One of my acquaintances on Facebook recently put a post up saying, "Has anybody got a sofa I can crash on for a couple of days?" I looked at the comments on his post, and it turned out that he'd not been getting on with his dad. So this guy, at the age of 33, who's been gainfully employed as long as I've known him, which is about 15 years minimum, is still living at his dad's and mum's house, and didn't even have enough money to go and stay at a cheap hotel for a couple of days to get away from his parents. Yet when you look at his Facebook posts, he's out every weekend getting drunk. He's often tagged in photos where he's abroad on holiday with his mates. To me, this is a very sad situation to be in. He's a nice guy and he's got a great heart, but clearly he has either never been educated in the ways of looking after his money, or his priorities are only on having fun and living in the moment. Unfortunately, one day he will be forced to grow up by his external circumstances. Knowing that you have the cash in the bank to cover you for any eventuality is a very nice place to be. If your boiler goes, you can get a new one. If your car goes, you can get a new one. If your dishwasher goes, you can get a new one. If your partner decides to throw you out because you've had a row, you can pay for somewhere to stay. Questions. What would you have to do today if your boiler went up the spout? Could you buy a new one? Would you have to get a new one on credit? Would you have to wait until you can get the money together? Think about the last time a mini financial disaster occurred. What did you do to get yourself out of it? What would you like to be able to do? Chapter 17. Money likes money. There is a saying that you've probably heard. The rich get richer, while the poor get poorer. This is only partially true. Sometimes the poor also get richer, but only if they start to do the right things with their money. The reason the rich normally get richer, even in times of economic downturn, is because they know what to do with their money. They constantly read and learn about the latest ways to make money, the latest dangers facing their money, how to better invest their money, protect their money, and keep a portion of it for themselves. The reason most people that are broke stay broke is because they keep doing the same things they were doing before, spending all their money, not saving any, getting into debt. Again, this is normally because of a lack of financial education, experience, and exposure. As I mentioned earlier, when inflation comes along, if you haven't increased your earning capacity, you will find it harder and harder to tread water. In 2007, a gallon of unleaded petrol was approximately 87.9 pence per litre in the UK. At the time of writing this, April 2012, it's £1.40 per litre. This is a 59% increase. If you haven't had a 59% increase in wages over the last 5 years, then this is going to have a big impact on you if you drive. This doesn't just apply to petrol, but also home fuel bills, food, rent, and other expenditure. Another reason that money likes money is compound interest. If you have savings in a decent savings account, you can earn from 3% to 6% interest. If you have it invested in the stock market, you can make a lot more than this, but don't forget you can also lose it all. One of the problems with compound interest is that for most people, it's working against them. Your money will grow and make you wealthier, but likewise, your borrowed money will grow and make your creditors wealthier and you poorer. If you invest £1,000 or dollars into a savings account that pays you 4% interest and leave it for a year, at the end of that year, you will have £1,040 or dollars. If you leave a balance of £1,000 or dollars on a credit card that charges 20% interest, you will owe £1,200 or dollars. This is quite a big difference. How else does money like money? People that are more financially affluent tend to associate with people of a similar ilk, just as people that like football tend to hang out with people that like football. If you are hanging around people that like to talk about money and like to make money and like to invest money, guess what you will learn? How to make money, how to invest money, and other good ideas to make your money work harder for you. Questions. Do you know someone with money that you could spend more time with to learn some of his or her strategies and ideas? Do you spend too much time with people that don't have any money? If you do, how do they talk about money? Do they moan about not having enough and how bad the economy is? Or do they discuss new ideas and ways to improve their situation? What about you? What do you talk about when talking about money? How is compound interest working in your life, for you or against you? Chapter 18. Money reveals you. Despite people saying the contrary, money doesn't change people. What money does is reveal you and magnify what you already are. For example, if you're a kind, generous person, having money will make you even more kind and generous. If you're a mean scrounger, having money will make you even meaner, as you'll always be trying to hold on to it. If you're always worrying about money and you could get more, you may just end up worrying even more. You could be worrying that people want to take your money away from you, or that you will lose it in a bad investment, or that it won't be enough to last. It also reveals you in terms of how you spend it. The more money you have, the more you can indulge your hobbies, interests, and passions. So if you had a passion for guitars, you could have 10 guitars instead of 1 or 2, and 5 amps instead of 1. This could also have a negative impact. If you have a tendency to drink a lot of alcohol or take drugs, you could have more and more and get yourself into a right old mess. Questions. What would you do, have, and be more of if you had a lot more money? What are the good things? What are the bad? Chapter 19. Other people want your money. Do you want more money? Well, that money is currently in the possession of somebody else right now. So if you want more money, this means that you want to take it away from someone else. Didn't think of it like that, did you? Well, neither do the majority of the people that want your money think like that either. Let me say it one more time. All the money that exists in the world right now is currently in the possession of either another person or another institution. Now, whilst we know there will always be thieves, crooks, swindlers, fraudsters and robbers, These people definitely want your money. The majority of people that want your money want to take it in a legitimate way. This involves taking it from you in exchange for something they either give you or provide you with. A business cannot survive if it isn't constantly taking people's money away from them, just as you cannot survive if you're not taking other people's money away from them. This doesn't mean that it's unfair and that people are being crooked or dishonest, as this is the current state of the world, and to get ahead, you need to play the game. So how do you stop people taking your money? First, don't spend your money on impulse purchases. I used to do this all the time, and on my credit card as well. If you see something you want, tell yourself that if you really want it, you'll come back in 2 days to get it. Don't take your credit card with you. Leave it at home. Even better, take an empty soup can or any other type of metal can, wash it out and fill it with water. Put your card in a plastic wallet and then put it into the water and freeze it. This way, if you want to spend money on your credit card, you need to defrost it. Make sure you have insurance for your house, car, life, liability, etc. If something goes wrong, you want your insurance company to foot the bill, not you. Shop around to get the best deal before buying big items. Get second hand instead of new. As mentioned, eBay is a great place to pick stuff up, a lot cheaper than the brand new. Don't use credit to buy things. Try websites that give things away for free, such as FreeCycle. If you Google get stuff for free, you will see a whole load of websites that give things away. Why not try that? If you don't have the self-discipline to not spend your money, why not open a bank account with somebody who's disciplined and that you know and trust, and have a joint signatory on the account? This should help you not take out money that you don't need to. Go through all of your household bills and decide if you really need all the things you're currently paying for. Satellite or cable television is nice, but would you rather have the money? Eating out. How many times a month do you eat out? Can you cut this down by 50% and cook a nice meal instead for a quarter of the price? Get things fixed quickly. If you notice something's going wrong with your car, get it fixed. Leaving it won't make it better. Look for bargains in charity shops. Sign a contract with your partner stating you're not allowed to buy something or you can only spend a certain amount. I did this once and saved myself a fortune by not spending money on what I thought was really important, but was really just me being greedy. Take a shopping list out and don't deviate from it. When you're out shopping, you can always see something that you just have to have. That's what shops design their layouts for. There are lots of ways of making sure you're not giving all your money away. You just need to think, be creative, and use Google. Questions. Where can you cut down on what you're spending? Do you impulse buy? If so, what's your pattern? Do you do it online or at the shops? Is there a certain thing you need to stop spending money on? Do you shop when you're down, tired, or for another reason? Write a plan and a budget and stick to it. Chapter 20. Money doesn't like fools. A fool and his or her money are soon parted. I used to be a fool with my money, so I know this is definitely true. The reason I was so broke a few years ago was because I didn't keep any accounts, so I had no idea if I was making enough money to cover my expenses or not. I didn't check my bank account, as I had an overdraft, so just thought that everything would be okay. I bought things I didn't need. I bought things I didn't need on credit. I spent far too much money in the pub. I buried my head in the sand and just couldn't deal with it. I didn't save a penny, and I slacked off at work and didn't maximise my earnings. If you add up all of these, you'll begin to understand why I was in such a bad financial situation. The most annoying thing is that if I had simply worked out my budget each month, I probably wouldn't have been in a particularly bad situation and could have managed okay. But because I buried my head in the sand and kept on borrowing money, my outgoings kept on creeping up, and my hole was getting deeper and deeper. If you're doing some of the things in my list, then you need to change your patterns of behaviour very quickly, or your hole will get so deep it will be up to your neck. What other things would a fool do with their money? Drink it away? Gamble it away? Try to look like a big shot, buying a big flash car, Rolex watches, etc. Spend all your money trying to impress the ladies or the men. Expensive clothes don't make you any more attractive, they just make you more broke. A fool would get a drug habit. Lend it to someone that has no ability to pay it back. Keep it in a place where it brings in no return. Try to invest it in things you know nothing about, such as the stock market. Pay for holidays on credit that you can't afford just because you deserve a break. And buy all the latest gadgets. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have any luxuries in life. Far from it. I think you should enjoy your money and enjoy the things that money can buy for you. But there is a difference between enjoying your money when you can afford it and when you have a year's worth of living costs in the bank and spending every penny you have in order to keep up with the neighbours or try to look cool. Questions. Be honest. How many of these things have you done or are currently doing? How many of the fool's traps have you been snared by? Which ones have the biggest hold over you? What do you need to do differently to change behaviour and change results? Chapter 21. Money makes you comfortable, not happy. If you're unhappy, it's not because you're broke, it's because you're unhappy. Are there happy broke people in the world? Of course there are. Are there unhappy broke people in the world? Of course there are. Are there happy rich people in the world? Yes. And are there unhappy rich people in the world? Yes. So if having money was what made you happy, then all the broke people would be unhappy and all the rich people would be happy. This clearly isn't the case at all. This indicates that money itself doesn't make you happy. I admit that if you won the lottery or a big lump sum of cash, you would be happy, for a while. Then you would sink into your old habitual thought patterns again, and the money would be forgotten. You would then find something else to be unhappy about, such as your relationship, your health, your kids not behaving or doing well in school, your family problems, etc. This isn't a book about being happy, it's a book about money, so I'm not going to go into what does make you happy. All I know is that money isn't it. Money does make you more comfortable though. If you have more money, you can be comfortable. You can have a nice home or homes. You can have a nice car or cars. You can take some nice holidays and you can choose what to do with your days. It won't make people like you more, other than false people, and it won't make you more attractive unless you pay for cosmetic surgery. It won't make you a nicer person, but it will reveal you, and it won't make you happier. You will certainly have less stress in your life though. This is good. You will have more freedom. This is good. And you will have more choice. This is good. But does less stress, more freedom and more choice make you happy? Not necessarily. Stress can be motivating. The stress to become better at your job or business can be a really positive force. The stress to overcome an obstacle makes you grow, and the stress to improve a skill moves you forward. Freedom can be liberating, but it can also cause boredom. If you're used to getting up over the alarm clock and going into a hectic workplace and dealing with people and sorting out problems, and then you don't do that anymore, you need to fill your time with new interests and hobbies. Questions. How would your life change if you had more money? Do you think you would be happier? More comfortable? Both? Who would you help if you had more? Chapter 22. Money is your servant, not the other way round. Money is like your mind. You can either use your mind or your mind can use you. If you control your mind, you can focus, achieve, perform at your best and communicate well. If you let your mind run itself, you can become depressed, confused, unfocused, and your life can become chaotic. It's very similar with money. If you control your money, you can have a life of abundance, a life of comfort, joy, generosity, prosperity, fun, and indulgence. If you allow money to control you, you'll have a life of worry, unsettlement, hardship, and difficulty. Money can be easily controlled by applying and understanding some of the following rules. Start saving today. The sooner you start, the sooner you will start to accumulate your nest egg, peace of mind fund, etc. Keep strict accounts. As discussed earlier, if you keep strict accounts, you would always know where you are and what situation you're in. This will stop you from getting into trouble and not knowing about it. Never spend more than you earn, ever. Again, we've talked about this already. If you don't spend everything you earn, you'll always have something left. And money is simple. All you need in order to understand money is a piece of paper, a pen, and a calculator. If you can use a calculator to add and subtract, you can figure it out and work out where you are. If you are struggling, I would suggest get a money-savvy friend to help you or hire an accountant. Questions. Are you in control of money or is money in control of you? Which of the previous action steps do you need to take? Do you know who you can go to help? Chapter 23. Money can come easily or money can be difficult to acquire. When I was broke, if someone had said this to me, I would have totally disagreed with them. Here's an analogy. If you were born in a tunnel and had spent your entire life living in it, you would not know that you were in a tunnel, as it would be normal to you and the only thing you'd ever known. If you came out of the tunnel, you would then realise that you were actually in one, and the way you saw the world would then shift. This is how my life was. I was living in a tunnel of brokenness. I don't think that's a real word, but who cares? And only now that I've come out of that tunnel can I see that this is what I was in. If you believe that money is difficult to come by, then it will be difficult to come by. If you believe that it's easy to come by, then it will be. Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right." If you think the only way to get hold of money is to go to work, work hard and scrimp and save, then that is the reality for your life. Some people make money easily and effortlessly. If working hard was all you had to do to get rich, then miners, scaffolders, labourers, farmers, nurses and teachers would all be rich. Making money can be easy. Here is just one simple example. I went on eBay using my mobile phone and purchased an item for £50. I knew it was underpriced as I'd seen the same thing for sale for £135. I bought it. As soon as it arrived, I unpacked it, photographed it with my phone, repackaged it, listed it on eBay for £110, which is £60 more than I paid, but £25 less than the RRP. Within 1 hour, I sold it. I posted it. It took me about 3 minutes to photograph it and list it on eBay with my phone. It took me about 5 minutes to package it up and 5 minutes to take it to the post office. This is a total of 13 minutes work for a £60 profit. That's not bad. Everything was done on my mobile phone, including transferring this money from my PayPal account to my bank account. That was easy money, and it's also a very small example. You could easily buy something at a car boot sale for 50p and sell it for £10. You can sell some of your old junk and make a few £100s. These are just basic examples. You can make money in a multitude of ways. Some of them require more effort, some less. Questions. What do you have in your home that you can sell on eBay, online, Facebook, at a car boot sale? What do you have a good knowledge about that you can turn into cash? What could you teach others for money? What else can you think of that you can turn into an idea that can make you money? Chapter 24. Stop digging your hole. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. Hopefully by now you will have changed your beliefs to the following. Credit is bad and costs you money. It makes sense to keep strict accounts. Saving is a good thing. You are the type of person that can learn and find new ways of making money. It's a good idea to have 6 to 12 months worth of expenses in the bank. You need to stop spending all of your money. If you've been making mistakes for the past 5 years, you don't want to make them anymore, so stop it. If you're still doing any of the negative things we've just discussed, I have some bad news for you. You're still digging a hole. If so, what is causing this to happen? Is it an unconscious need to keep buying stuff? Is it another person that eggs you on to continue your bad habits? Oh, come on, let's just go to the pub, we'll just have one more beer. Are you still telling yourself stories like, I couldn't live without satellite TV, or I deserve this holiday, so I'm going to buy it? You only need to answer one simple question. Are you committed to change? Jim Rohn always used to say, for things to get better, you have to get better. For things to change, you have to change. Until you stop the behaviours that are causing you to keep digging your hole, you will continue to get deeper and deeper. Nobody can stop you other than yourself. Questions. Are you still digging a hole? How do you feel about that? How would you feel if you not only stopped digging, but started filling the hole and building a mound of financial security? What one action can you take today to make positive progress? Who can you get to help you? What's your next step? Chapter 25. The Law of Cause and Effects. Many years ago, Sir Isaac Newton discovered the law of cause and effect. Here is Wikipedia's definition, in which an action or event will produce a certain response to the action in the form of another event. To laymen, this means that if you drop a hammer on your foot, the cause, your foot will hurt a lot, the effect. The law of cause and effect is occurring all the time, to everyone and everything, and you can never escape it. Ever. Here are a few more examples. If you eat more calories than you burn off, you will put on weight. If you punch your boss in the face, you get fired. If you put your hand in boiling water, you will burn your hand. If you spend money on credit cards, you'll get into debt and end up spending more than what the goods originally cost due to compound interest. If you put money into your savings each month and don't touch them, your money will begin to grow. If you pay off your debts, you will have more money to save and invest each month. If you buy 100 copies of this book, I will get paid a lot more royalties. If you jump out of an aeroplane without a parachute, you will hit the ground very hard. You get the idea. Basically, what you do today will create a ripple effect in the future. So if you take sensible actions, only good can come of them. If you take foolish actions, only bad can come of them. This is how simple this stuff is. When making a decision with your finances, ask yourself, what will be the outcome of this in 3 months to 3 years' time? You don't need to do this every time you buy a cup of coffee, but be mindful of what you are doing and look at the long-term consequences. When people tell me their financial situation is out of control, it is normally pretty simple to see the causes of their effects. We mentioned a lot of these earlier, so I won't repeat myself here. Questions. How is the law of cause and effect participating in your life? Are you using it, or are you being used by it? What are the effects in your life from your past actions? If you want to change the effects, what new causes or actions do you need to take? Chapter 26. The only economy you need to worry about is your own. There are several types of economy that are all interwoven. World economies, international economies, European economies, national economies, etc. If everybody just focused on their own economy, then the world economy would also improve. If everyone was saving and being sensible with their money, then local economies would also be in a better state. Whilst we all feel for the countries where the economy is struggling, the only economy you can really do something about is your own. Chapter 27. How do you get or keep more money? In this chapter, we're going to look at 2 things. 1, how to increase your earning power, and 2, how to make sure you keep some of your money. First of all, let's look at ways to increase your earning power. Becoming more valuable. What do I mean by this? I'm going to explain this in the same way that Jim Rohn used to explain it, as this is the most logical way I can think of. If you imagine the range of earnings that are possible, you will see that we have a minimum wage in a lot of modern Western societies. At the time of writing this book, in the UK, the minimum wage is £6.08 per hour for an adult aged 21 or above. This is the bottom rung of the economic ladder. In order to climb the ladder and be paid more money, you will need to become more valuable, either to your current employer or an alternative employer. How do you become more valuable? Experience. The longer you've worked in a particular role or career, you become more experienced. Take on responsibility. As you can accomplish the required tasks in a shorter time, this allows you to take on additional tasks or projects. This often results in being paid more money. Formal education. You can study. Some companies let you study at work towards formally recognised qualifications, and some would expect you to do this off your own back. But, this is the point, your education is your own responsibility, so if you want to earn more, you ultimately need to do this yourself. Don't moan if the company won't pay. On-the-job training. Apprenticeships and the like allow you to increase your value to the business whilst working on the job. Find out what training your company or local companies can provide. Self-education. This comes in the form of books, audiobooks, seminars, webinars, business meetings, lectures, etc. This is the route I took, and it served me very well. Find a mentor. If you're serious about improving your finances, find someone that's done what you want to do and ask them to teach you. If that person isn't a jerk, they will probably help you out. Creating multiple sources of income. Most people go to a job for a living. This is one way of working, but here you are exchanging your life for money. You give the company 40 hours a week and they give you an agreed salary in exchange. If you earn £30,000 or dollars a year, you are pretty much swapping a year of your life for that $30,000. Does that sound like a good deal to you? You may earn a lot more than that, but still, would it be worth the swap? An MSI, multiple source of income, can be built quickly or slowly and can pay you for many years after you've built it. For example, if you were to create a website reviewing swimming goggles and put Google AdSense on there, it could pay you a few pounds or hundreds of pounds per month for 10 years or more. The work might take a week of effort, but would ultimately be worth a lot. You could create one new website per month of a cost of around £45 or dollars, and then you'd have 12 income-producing machines each year added to your portfolio. Once you've saved up some money, you can then turn that money into income. Bank investment accounts that pay you a monthly income can be used to boost it. Buy-to-let property can produce income. You could buy a taxi and let a taxi company use it for a weekly rental. You could write a book, an ebook, a song, etc. and have it pay you for years to come. There are many different ways of creating this cash flow, and each one will require a different amount of time investment. Daily effort. An example here would be a job. You need to turn up and do the job every day to get paid. One-off effort. Putting money into a simple investment such as an ISA or monthly income bond only needs to happen once and it pays you. Minimum time investment. Building and maintaining a website. This may take a few weeks or even months, but once built, you should only need a minimum time investment to keep it going. Weekly time investment. Buying a pinball machine and putting it in a barber shop could be an example. You buy it, put it in, and then go over weekly to collect your money. Ad hoc time investment. A rental property would be an example here. If the property is in a good state of repair and you get a good tenant, you shouldn't have to do much. You decide the time investment. Let's say you own a business and let someone else run it for you. In this case, you can choose your level of time investment. You may just want a weekly or monthly update, or you might want to get involved in the day-to-day decisions. The only limit to what you can do to create multiple sources of income is your imagination and how much hard work you're willing to put in. Thinking outside the box and using what you know. Okay, talking of imagination, let's look at a few things people have done to make more money. Lauren Luke, she was working in a taxi office in the northeast of England. She created a YouTube channel teaching girls how to apply makeup. She became a phenomenon and now has her own makeup line and a Nintendo DS game in her name, all because she was bored of her job and wanted to sell some makeup on eBay. $1 Million homepage. A student named Alex Chu wanted to pay his way through university to put up a website where you could purchase one pixel for $1. It went so well, he made himself a millionaire in the process. Virtual farming. Players win gold on World of Warcraft, which is a computer game. Then they sell the false gold to other players online that want the gold but don't want to spend time earning it. People pay real money for pretend money on a computer game. Create your own instructional DVDs and sell them on eBay. I've also done this. If you have a skill and can teach it to others, create a DVD or CD and sell them on eBay or via your own website. Creating a blog. This is like an online diary and you can sell products. There are countless other ways. These are just a handful. You could also set up a real-world business, doing something nobody's ever done before. Chess boxing is a perfect example. Who would have ever thought you could combine the two? But somebody has, and this is making them money all around the world. Here are a few suggestions for brainstorming to come up with ideas. What do you enjoy that you'd like to get better at? Could you put on a workshop, hire in an expert and take a cut of the profits? What are you good at that you could teach? What do you think is missing from your workplace, town, city or social group? What have you seen for sale somewhere else that you can't get locally but feel there may be a good market for? What can you write about online? What can you review? What can you make videos about? What can you do that's funny? What can you do that's rare? What would you like to do if you had more time? Can you start doing it now part-time and make more money from it? Get your thinking cap on and start coming up with ideas today. How do you keep your money? In the book The Richest Man in Babylon, George Clason uses ancient stories to teach how to build and maintain wealth. Even though the book was originally published in 1926, the lessons are as relevant today as they were then, and in fact as they were in the days of ancient Babylon, which is where the book is based. Here are the key points from the book. Learn to live on 90% of your income. The 10% that's left will go towards your saving for your future. Learn to control your expenses. Make your money multiply by investing it. Guard your money from loss. Don't do stupid things with it, in other words. And use insurance. Own your own home, don't rent. You can pay off a mortgage, you can never pay off rent. Ensure your future income and increase your earning capacity. Remember from the book is this. If a farmer goes out to his chickens each day and puts 10 eggs into his basket, yet only takes out 9 from it each day, very soon his basket will be overflowing with eggs. This is exactly the same principle for your money. For every pound or dollar you earn, spend only 90 pence or 90 cents, and soon your bank account will overflow with money. Always pay yourself first. So whenever you get paid or get given, win, inherit, make some money, the first thing you should do is take 10% and put it straight into some sort of investment or savings account. And here's the secret. Once it's in there, don't touch it. This is how easy it is to build wealth slowly and surely and securely. The reason you need to pay yourself first is this. When you get paid, you will have a lot of people that want your money. Your mortgage company, landlord, taxes, car insurance, credit card companies, etc. If you don't pay yourself first, you may not get around to doing it. You are the most important person to pay, so make sure you get to keep some of your money. I've probably given this advice to 100 people since I learned it. Guess how many, to my knowledge, have actually taken this advice? 1. I saw that person a while ago and I hadn't seen them for some years. They told me that this simple piece of advice had completely transformed their life. Now they had a nice nest egg saved, and they said that taking that 10% and putting it aside hadn't impacted them at all, and they didn't notice it because they did it as a direct payment straight out of their bank each month. So when I said you should learn to live on 90% of your income, if at first you can't save that amount of money, then you need to try and reduce your debts so you can build up to it. Close. So to finish, I'd like to thank you for sticking with me and getting to the end. I have literally just scratched the surface on the subject of money, and my aim here was just to make you curious. Hopefully, this will motivate you to go and find some more answers and some more solutions. I hope you've really taken on board the ideas presented, and hopefully by now you will have an idea of how you plan to proceed. But before I leave you alone, I want to drive home a few more points. Nothing will happen unless you actually take some action. These are the action steps I would strongly recommend, and in this order. 1. If you haven't already done this, get out a bank statement or two and look at exactly where you're spending your money each month. Pick at least 3 areas where you can start saving money. 2. If you haven't already done this, get all of your credit card, loan, store card, mortgage balances and put them onto a spreadsheet or into an accounts book so you can start seeing where you are financially and you can keep a track of them and how quickly you're paying them off. 3. Open a savings account for your 10% payments each time you get paid or each time you get some money. 4. Make your first deposit into your new account and add it to your spreadsheet or your account book. You now have something in your assets column. 5. Make one small payment off one of your credit cards or loans. Even if it's just £5 or dollars, it immediately gets you into the mindset of doing it. 6. Repeat steps 4 and 5 every time you get paid or receive any money. I used to do this even if I got paid £20. I'd put £2 into my savings and pay £2 off my debt. One bank clerk actually said to me, "That's a bit of a waste of time, isn't it?" I had to laugh as that was one of the first times I did it and could have been easily discouraged, but I knew my plan and I'm glad I stuck with it. 7. Buy one of the books I'm about to mention and actually read them. Read it with a highlighter pen and mark out all the bits that resonate with you, and then take more action on these ideas. Good luck, and may you have a happy, secure and wonderful future. Suggested reading: The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. 7 Strategies for Wealth and Happiness by Jim Rohn. The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas J. Stanley and William D. Danko. Why You're Dumb, Sick and Broke, and How to Get Smart, Healthy and Rich by Randy Gage. And Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.